December 16, 1960, a trans-world Airlines Super Constellation approaches New York's Idlewild Airport through heavy snow and fog. In the cabin, passengers enjoy their final cocktails martinis, shaken, not stirred. The aircraft is minutes from landing when air traffic control makes a terrible realization. They've lost 2 planes on radar, not one. The TWA flight and the United Airlines DC-8 have collided directly over Staten Island. All 128 passengers and crew on both planes are killed, along with 6 people on the ground. It remains the deadliest aviation accident in American history. This wasn't an isolated incident. During aviation's so-called Golden Age, the risk of dying in a plane crash was 25 times higher than today. For every champagne cork popped at 35,000 feet, there was a terrifying statistical reality. Glamour had a deadly price. In our previous episode, we celebrated the Golden Age's luxury, the fine dining, the elegant service, the jet-set lifestyle. Today, we confront its dark shadow. The period from 1958 to 1975 represents aviation's greatest paradox. Never had flying been more glamorous, and never had it been more dangerous. This is the story of how tragedy, investigation, and hard lessons transformed aviation from a stylish gamble into the world's safest form of mass transportation. The statistical reality. Let's begin with numbers that shock modern sensibilities. In 1960, the accident rate for major airlines was approximately 40 crashes per million flights. Today, it's less than 0.2. Put differently, if you flew once a month during the Golden Age, statistically, you'd experience a fatal crash in your lifetime. Airlines knew this, insurance companies charged accordingly. Yet this reality was carefully hidden behind velvet curtains and champagne flutes. Why was it so dangerous? 3 converging factors. First, technology at its limits. Jet aircraft were flying higher, faster, and in more complex weather than ever before. Systems were being pushed beyond proven parameters. Second, inadequate regulation. The Federal Aviation Administration was only created in 1958, and its authority was limited. Third, human factors ignored. The right stuff pilot culture valued bravado over procedure. Perhaps most telling, airlines didn't publish safety statistics. When questioned, say flying is safer than driving, a claim that wasn't true until the 1980s. The Golden Age's elegance was, in part, a distraction from its danger. The collision over Staten Island, 1960, the 1960 New York mid-air collision, wasn't just a tragedy, was a systems failure that exposed fundamental flaws. 2 aircraft, one descending, one climbing, collided at 8,000 feet in cloudy conditions. How? The investigation revealed a perfect storm of failures. First, air traffic control relied on procedural separation, pilots reporting their positions verbally. Radar existed, but wasn't used for positive control. Second, the TWA Constellation was off course due to navigational error. Third, the United DC-8 was climbing faster than expected due to new, more powerful engines. Fourth, controllers were using paper strips to track aircraft, a system overwhelmed by traffic volume. The collision killed not just passengers but entire families traveling together for Christmas. Among the dead, 5 members of the same family, prominent businessmen, and military. The public outrage was immediate and lasting. The legacy of this disaster forced the implementation of positive radar control in terminal areas. It accelerated the development of traffic collision avoidance systems, TCAs, and it ended the practice of allowing non-essential personnel in controlled towers. The skies became safer because 134 people died over New York. The Canefield Crash, 1963. March 3, 1963. A Northwest Orient Airlines DC-7 departs Miami for Tampa. 30 minutes into the flight, at 17,000 feet, passengers see something horrifying. The right wing is on fire. The pilot attempts an emergency landing in a Florida sugarcane field. The aircraft breaks apart, killing 43 of 51 on board. The investigation uncovered a maintenance practice so routine, so accepted, that it shocked the industry. Fuel tank nitrogen inerting systems were regularly disabled. These systems pumped inert nitrogen into fuel tanks to prevent explosive vapors. Airlines disabled them because they caused fuel gauges to read inaccurately, leading to short fueling, leaving airports with less than maximum fuel to save weight and money. The crash revealed something darker. Airlines systematically prioritized profit over a known safety system. The DC-7's right fuel tank had exploded because without nitrogen inerting, explosive fumes accumulated and were ignited by something, possibly static electricity, possibly a faulty pump. The outcome? The FAA mandated functional fuel tank inerting systems on all pressurized aircraft. Maintenance logs became legal documents, subject to criminal prosecution for falsification, and a new philosophy emerged: cost saving could never justify safety compromise. A practice that saved airlines thousands cost dozens their lives. The autopilot trap, 1965. June 8, 1965, a Pan American Boeing 707 climbs from San Francisco to Honolulu. At 35,000 feet, the autopilot disconnects. The pilots don't notice. The aircraft gradually enters a spiral dive, accelerating beyond its design limits. At 6,000 feet, it breaks apart over the Pacific. All 51 on board perish. No wreckage is ever found. This crash represented a new kind of danger: automation complacency. The 707 featured sophisticated autopilots that could fly the aircraft from takeoff to landing. Pilots, accustomed to this reliability, sometimes failed to monitor basic instruments. The investigation coined the term automation surprise when automated systems fail or disconnect unexpectedly, and crews are slow to recognize it. But there was a deeper issue: training mismatch. Airlines were training pilots on automated systems, but not on manual flying skills. The Golden Arms pilots who could hand fly in any condition were being replaced by system managers who struggled when automation failed. The solution? Mandatory manual flying training and autopilot disconnect, alerts that couldn't be ignored. Airlines instituted raw data flying periods where autopilots were turned off. The philosophy shifted. Automation should assist pilots, not replace them. This lesson would prove crucial decades later, with more advanced systems. The maintenance crisis 1968 to 1971. The late 1960s saw a disturbing pattern. Aircraft were literally falling apart in flight. In 1968, a Braniff International BAC 1-11 lost its vertical stabilizer over Dawson, Texas. In 1969, an Allegheny Airlines Convair 440 lost a wing over Ohio. In 1971, an Alaska Airlines 727 lost a cargo door over Montana. The common thread: aging aircraft and deferred maintenance. The jet age's first-generation aircraft were reaching 10 to 15 years old, unprecedented for complex jets. Airlines, facing rising costs and competition, were stretching maintenance intervals. The FAA's oversight was fragmented and understaffed. The Dawson crash investigation was particularly revealing. The BAC 111's vertical stabilizer attachment bolts showed fatigue cracking that should have been detected. Maintenance records showed inspections signed off but not actually performed. The mechanic who falsified the records testified. They said, "Get the plane back in the air or don't come back tomorrow." This era birthed the Aging Aircraft Program, mandating specific inspections for older aircraft. It created maintenance tracking systems that followed individual aircraft throughout their life cycle. And it established whistleblower protections for mechanics and inspectors. The message: airframes have memories, and maintenance is non-negotiable. The human factor revolution. By the early 1970s, investigators noticed something troubling. Approximately 70% of accidents had pilot error as a factor. But this label was misleading. It wasn't that pilots were incompetent, it was that cockpit design, procedures, and culture were setting them up to fail. The revolution began with Cockpit Resource Management (CRM). Before CRM, captains were gods, their decisions unquestioned. First officers might notice errors, but remain silent. Taught communication, leadership, and decision-making as skills equal to stick-hand-rooter ability. Simultaneously, standardized procedures replaced individual airline practices. Before standardization, flaps 25 feet might mean different settings at different airlines. Checklists became mandatory, not optional. Crew rest requirements were scientifically studied and mandated. Perhaps most importantly, accident investigation changed. The blame and punish model gave way to systemic analysis. Instead of asking who failed, investigators asked what conditions made failure inevitable. This shift from punishment to prevention saved more lives than any technological advancement. the balance sheet of progress. So what was the final cost of the Golden Age's safety revolution between 1958 and 1975? Approximately 3,500 people died in commercial aviation accidents in the United States alone. Each death triggered investigations, reforms, and regulations that collectively built today's safety system. The legacy is measured in lives saved. 2.5 million commercial flights occurred daily today, with an accident rate so low it's statistically negligible. The safety systems born from Golden Age tragedies: TAS, terrain warning, improved maintenance tracking, CRM training, standardized procedures prevent an estimated 100 accidents annually that would have occurred at 1960s safety levels. The Golden Age's dark truth. Luxury preceded safety. The champagne service, the gourmet meals, the elegant lounges. These were the visible face of aviation. The invisible face was inadequate systems, compromised maintenance, and unmanaged risks. One couldn't exist without eventually confronting the other. The Golden Age of Aviation wasn't just about how we flew, it was about learning how to fly safely. Every modern safety procedure, every cockpit design element, every maintenance protocol carries the memory of those who died, teaching us these lessons. Their legacy isn't in memorials, but in the remarkable fact that today, you're more likely to be struck by lightning twice than die in a commercial aircraft accident. The lessons learned in tragedy would soon face their greatest test. As aviation entered the 1970s, a new challenge emerged: how to safely manage aircraft carrying 400 people instead of 40. The jumbo jet era was about to begin.